Hi guys, welcome to Mabinogi. In this guide, we're going to be going over 15 questions I've gathered by asking beginner players or people who might not have started the game yet. There's no way I could possibly answer every beginner question, so if anyone has any to add, please feel free to do so in the comments. Remember, this is intended for beginners, so make sure to be as descriptive as possible. If I've made any mistakes, please feel free to let me know in the comments as well. Players who may be interested in Mabinogi but haven't started quite yet, here are your questions. How many characters can you create? The short answer to this would be 200 characters. If you're looking for an explanation, here's the long answer. Within Mabinogi, you can create characters, pets, and partners. Pets are summonable creatures that normally, but not always, resemble your real-life everyday pets and can be logged into like your other characters. Partners are pretty much bots that aid you in different scenarios while summoned, but cannot be logged into. Each time you create one of these three, they'll count towards the same account limit. Currently, the total limit is set at 400. However, characters within that limit cap at 200, and only pets and partners can continue to be created until you hit 400. For example, you could, let's say, have 50 characters, 300 pets, and 50 partners created at once on your account. When creating a character, what would the different races change? During character creation, you have the option to choose between human, elf, or giant. Each option has both their appearance quirks and combat quirks. Humans are also going to be considered our neutral point, since they've got almost every quirk outside of appearance options. Appearance-wise, humans are, well, human. Regular faces are available, but they lack any facial hair, special ear shapes, or face markings. They've also got very basic style options, which is to be expected. Elves, on the other hand, have the option to use more traditional styles and can change their ear shape along with their face shape. This includes face markings in some cases. Giants have pretty basic hair options, however, on the flip side, are the only race that can start out with facial hair, and also make use of different face markings. When it comes to combat, you'll find humans have almost no restrictions in what they can do. To put this in perspective, elves and giants are both unable to use specific weapons entirely. Archery is something that elves have a bit of extra skill, literally in, whereas giants cannot use bows at all. Two-handed weapons and the ability to dual-wield certain weapons is something giants excel in, while elves lack the ability to use two-handed weapons or lances. Despite these restrictions disappointingly being in place as of 2026, Nexon has seemingly been hinting at potentially moving towards this being changed in the future, so please keep that in mind. There's still a couple smaller differences between the races, such as running speed, elves, or carrying other players on their shoulders, giants. But what was mentioned are technically the most important parts you should know about. Are you limited to using only one class per character? Instead of classes, we actually have what is called a talent, which is essentially still what people know as a class. The difference with our talents is that you aren't locked to using only one for the entire playthrough of a character. Selecting and setting an active talent only benefits you by making it easier to train the skills related to it. In reality, you can switch to using any talent at pretty much any time by just switching out your weapons or tools. You don't even need to go to some random NPC to ask to switch it. For example, you could use Shadow Cloak under the Ninja talent, use Deathmark under the Chain Slasher talent, and use Raincasting under Construct Alchemist, all within seconds. To make it even more simple, if you equip an instrument, you're automatically ready to buff players or play music under the Bard talent. Virtually, the options of what you could use together are endless. Later into your gameplay, you'll be able to use what is a stronger mixture of two talents together called Arcanas, and those are something you'll only be able to select one of at a time. They're closer to what you'd call your traditional class, and can be easily switched between in your character info window. Does the game have pay-to-win issues, or is it generally free to play? Depending on what way you plan to enjoy the game, combat or fashion for example, you'll find that there's a mixture of pay-to-win and free-to-play aspects. If we're talking about the combat side, it's become generally free-to-play, with best-in-slot gear being put into free content as RNG drops, or VIP service being buyable for in-game gold, the free currency, on the auction house. Even expansions for your homestead or inventory can be bought for gold in the same way. Of course, you could argue that it means you need to work harder in order to earn the gold for these things, versus if you just instantly had them by buying them with NX, the premium currency. Where it becomes slightly more pay-to-win is the game's fashion side. Outside of the occasional events giving out new outfits for free, you'll only be able to get a lot of fashion through gachas, which, of course, you can only buy with an X. Sure, you could buy most of the outfits with gold, but they're usually incredibly costly at highs of 200 million gold. Alongside this, we've got the Aaron Adventure Passes that release, which include untradeable sets and are only purchasable with NX. Then there's Pawn too. Anyway, it used to be much worse, so there's that. Make good choices. Can I still enjoy the game even if I don't want to get into combat? Absolutely! During the game's creation, the plan was for players to be able to live a fantasy life outside of the real world. The result of this idea was the addition of part-time jobs, cooking, music composition, weddings, pets, homesteads, fashion, and the list goes on. If all you wanted to do was cook various dishes and sell them to players, then so be it. As long as you don't let other players tell you what you should do while you play, then the sky's the limit. Beginners who have just freshly made their character, here are your questions. Where can I find other players in-game? There's a couple places where you can find most players. The top spot you're going to see a mix of AFK and active players is the town called Dunbarton. If you've reached Tur through your tutorial, you can travel on foot straight south, or use the Traveler's Guide found by clicking the Celtic symbol button at the bottom of your screen. Tur itself can also be a slightly active place for smaller groups of players. People who actively run content related to combat can be found in dungeon lobbies or just on the outskirts of their respective runs. Albi and Rundle hard mode dungeons, Cromboss, Glenberna, and Brileth are all notable runs that you can teleport to by checking out the dungeon guide, found under the same button as previously mentioned. If you're still having a hard time finding players, you may just be on a less populated channel, or a maintenance has just ended. To switch channels, you'll press the menu button on the bottom left of your screen and press Change Channel. Currently the most populated channel is Channel 1. What are some of the ways I can get clothing to dress up my character? Cheap, starter clothing can be found for sale in NPC shops around you or be given to you for free through quests. Most of these pieces of clothing are lower quality due to them being in the game since 2008. Higher quality clothing can be found in gachas, on the auction house, in player shops, or from ongoing events. Gachas can be bought for NX within the cash shop found on the gift box shop button at the bottom of your screen or on the main website. The auction house can be found right next to the cash shop button and has multiple tabs to browse for what you're looking for. Player shops can be found in various towns, but are most always actively placed in the town of Dunbarton. Ongoing events can be found in your Quest Window's Event tab, and can be read about over on Mabinogi's official website to learn what items you can receive. Other than these options, there are always craftable pieces once you've found out how to use the tailoring skill. What is the base size of your inventory? How can I expand that? The base size of your main inventory is 6x10, and your Soul Streamer inventory is a gigantic 20x15, but your main inventory can be expanded in various ways. If you purchase Basic or Combination VIP off the cash shop or auction house, you'll be given access to the VIP tab of your main inventory, which mirrors the size of your main inventory space. Found in the same places as VIP, you'll be able to purchase inventory expansion coupons, which, if you've used the max of 3, will result in your main inventory becoming 9x10. Taking advantage of bags is something that critically enhances your inventory space also. You can buy various bags through the auction house or receive them from events and premium packages. A number of examples would be doll bags, which can also boost stats and pick up items and gold for you, clothing bags, or mysterious colored bags. Pet inventories and your bank storage can also help leave you more space to place things. Do you absolutely have to do your story or generation quests? No, but I do highly recommend it since you might miss out on some really important skills, titles, mechanics, and more. For example, techniques come from finishing the storyline's Generation 22 and are an important aid to survive in battle, or, in the case of Phantasmal Sight, make life content easier. Is there a goal I should work towards as soon as possible to progress? Getting your total level to 20k and receiving an Arcana is the biggest goal you should have as soon as possible. The easiest way to get this finished, if there isn't an ongoing event focusing on it, is to progress through your Blanded Memoir quests. These can be started by completing the regular beginner quests up to Strange Signs. You'll then see a quest called A Blue Fragrance on the Wind, and follow that. Throughout the completion of the memoirs, you'll be awarded with important beginner knowledge, a quick boost in your levels all the way to 20k, advanced training of a bunch of skills, and a big boost in your Arcana requirements. Ignoring this goal could potentially lock you out of participating in events, which is why I've chosen this to be your priority. If I changed my hairstyle, can I still switch back, or would it cost me? Hairstyles and any type of beauty option in general within the game have both free options and paid options. If we open the dressing room under the circular coin button at the bottom of your screen and click the button on the left that looks like a body, you'll find a massive list of beauty options, the tabs at the top being for each type of style. Any of the options shown at the top of the list are most recently added, whereas the further you go down, the longer it's been in the game. Scrolling through the styles, you might notice differently colored and labeled corner arrows. Starting at the very bottom, the styles with no corner arrows are completely free. Slightly higher up, the red or orange P-labeled styles are purchasable with a premium currency called Pawn. And continuing to the top, anything labeled with a hot pink B is a style you'll need to be in possession of a beauty coupon for. Pawn can be purchased through the cash shop, or infrequently rewarded for free during events, while beauty coupons are an item that will be consumed after purchasing the selected style and can be found on the auction house, within gachas, or events. Frequently, during the Master Plan events, which happen during summer and winter seasons, you'll be able to select pawn options for free. With all that being said, to save any of your styles, you'll want to select the head button with a plus on it along the left tabs. You'll automatically have a few spaces to save some styles for free, but adding more in the future will cost you pawn. Simply selecting an empty slot and pressing Save Hair, or Eyes, Face, and Mouth will save your currently used style to that spot in the color you're using it in. Saving different colors of the same style will unfortunately require taking up another slot. I also want to make sure to mention that if you press Delete Appearance on a style you're currently using, you'll still be able to resave it back to a slot as long as you don't change it before resaving it. Once you have your saved styles, you're able to freely switch between them whenever you'd like for free. For the players who are still beginning the game but have a little bit of a footing in what they're doing, here are your questions. How do I raise my HP, MP, and stamina bars so I don't run out of them as often? When attempting to raise your HP, MP, and stamina, there are so many different things you could do. Ranking up all your skills is going to help immensely, so that's where you'll want to start. Just one small example is Combat Mastery, which, when fully finished being ranked, will give you a boost of over 100 HP alone. Leveling up your Arcanas will also give you more HP, MP, and stamina. Then there's just generally leveling up, or a temporary boost through transformations. There's so many ways it's honestly kind of hard to list them all, so hopefully these can suffice. Giants can use atlatls as a weapon. What talent are they considered under, and are they potentially worth using? Atlatls are a tricky one, and quite funny because they're technically under the combat tab in your skills window, but don't actually fall under any talent. Due to this weapon getting mostly forgotten by Nexon, it doesn't keep up with Arcanas, but you could argue it has the ability to keep up with regular talents. In order for you to make the atlatl powerful and potentially viable, you'll need to work really hard on using the best enchants, the best upgrades, reforges, and erging it. There's specifically a throwing attack cooldown reduction reforge that absolutely makes or breaks your gameplay if you plan to main one. This weapon's fanbase is also massive, so maybe one day it'll get a well-deserved update. How can I get some decent gear early on? Early on, the game will give you gear through Blanid's memoir quests. And they're great, but you can do better once you get access to the Albi Shineseeker dungeon. When you've gotten to select and completely level your first Arcana, you'll immediately have access. In order to get this, you'll want to reach level 20k and train your skills listed under the mixture of talents related to your Arcana of choice. Once you hit Master in those talents, you'll do your Grandmaster tests at NPC Lazaro in Terra until you've gotten 10 seals of each talent. You then pay a fee to advance both of the talents and boom, you're ready. At the western limit of Dunbarton's map, not the town itself, and behind the Dunbarton Moongate, you can talk to the NPC named Soraya in order to receive daily Shineseeker orbs, which you'll use to gain entry to Albi Shineseeker dungeon. Gear from this dungeon is always randomized and untradeable, so be sure to check out what reforges you've gotten. If you're lucky, you may even receive a Void Robe box out of a glowing red chest. How can I start making gold? There's so many ways to make gold, I've even made videos called 100 Ways to Make Gold. If you're interested, be sure to check those out. I plan to update them every year or so. 2026's version is coming up if you don't see it already. A good way to start making gold is dependent on figuring out what way you plan to play. If you're someone brand new and you plan to get into combat content, you could run shadow missions to potentially grab an item called Aaron's Spirit from your reward chests. Someone who might be more interested in life content could gather up full stacks of herbs since the Forbidden Alchemist Arcana uses them. Maybe you're someone who doesn't mind grinding something over and over and could benefit from selling snow crystals that drop in Par ruins on the outskirts of Vales. Find out what sells and what is worth your time, and don't be afraid to use the auction house to price check. Like I said before, it's impossible for me to answer every question anyone could have, but I've tried my best. I'd like to thank Sheep for helping read over some starting questions, as well as community manager Elibon for confirming and linking me some facts. Any additional questions or mistakes can be brought up in the comments to help continue the ongoing conversation. If you liked this guide, be sure to check out my other guides. Thanks so much, and goodbye.